Welcome to our community and the next step on our journey to rebuilding Johnston Square to serve as a model for all the goodness that occurs when we all lock arms together and organize to rebuild Baltimore. There's no stopping us. Before going any further, though, on our program, it is my pleasure to call to the microphone Pastor Ray Cotton of Mount Sinai Baptist Church. Pastor Cotton has worked and prayed with us and for us every step of this journey.
Good morning to each of you. I asked Regina, it is that she wanted me to pray. I've been out of my pulpit for 2 weeks, and any audience you get after being gone 2 weeks, you want to preach. And so I will do what I have been asked to do. Let us bow. Gracious God, we are so grateful to you and indebted to you for all of the wonderful things you've done in our lives, and even more so the things that you're doing through us. We thank you for the partners of the city that are making development and improvements possible and real in our day and time. We know without you having moved upon the hearts of people who have the resources and the means and the knowledge, that what we are experiencing today and what we have experienced over the last few years would not have taken place. And so we say thank you to you, and we ask our choicest blessings upon each agency, each representative, each person, and especially upon Regina and the Build organization that coordinate this effort and so many others. This we pray in the matchless, marvelous, mighty, and wonderful name of Christ our Savior. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Cotton. Okay. Have I got a story for you? Let me tell you how we ended up here at the corner of Greenmount and Chase this morning. 6 years ago, it all started with a bunch of kids who had nothing else to do but knock on doors in the neighborhood and run and hide. They had no recreational outlets in our community. And it also started with us because we were sick and tired of kids banging on our door and running. I joined the Build organization, and we organized residents to build a new community organization, Rebuild Johnston Square. We listened to the community, who were also sick and tired and who wanted change. They wanted recreation, they wanted housing, they wanted jobs, and they wanted to feel safe in their community. We hosted, in the past 6 years, we've basically hosted monthly community meetings every month. We host monthly cleanups and dumpster days. The 6 branches joined Build with us and Rebuild Johnston Square together. We have reclaimed over 25 abandoned lots here in Johnston Square, which we maintain on a regular basis. We partnered with the city and the Tree Trust, and we planted some trees to let people see things can change. It can be beautiful here. We partnered with Recs and Parks and People and transformed a park that had been neglected for years into a world-class $1.5 million park, the newly designed Henrietta Lacks Park. We partnered with Rebuild Metro and the community and assessed the Johnston Square community house by house, lot by lot. We created our first master plan and rehabbed the 1200 block of Homewood Avenue that had been vacant for years. And now we are here to break ground with all of you and our newest partner, Ingerman, on a new 60-unit affordable apartment building at the corner of Greenmount and Chase. Wow. And we are not done yet. And to continue our vision, we need even more partners We are going to need you. We're going to need you. We're going to need you. Together, we will rebuild Johnston Square, and together, we will rebuild Baltimore. Are we ready? Yeah.
As many of you may know, I'm Sean Klosky. I'm with Rebuild Metro. And when Regina came to our office a couple of years ago, we said, we don't help individuals, we only help communities. And she said, I'll find you a community. And she has been true to her word, and this has just been a real pleasure. When we looked at this, we recognized that the task at hand was much bigger than her organization, the Build organization, or Rebuild Metro. And we said, to do this, we really have to create a partnership. And I think that when I think of this, you know, people thought, well, Regina, they would give the analogy of throwing a rock into a pond and there was ripples. That's a really good analogy, but it doesn't sort of capture what's really going on. What's really going on is everyone in this tent is like a drop of rain, and we're going to continue to saturate the field month after month, year after year, until it's vital again. And this field is very dry. And it's going to take all of us. And there isn't a person in this tent that doesn't need to be shouted out. That's how important and how difficult and how complex all of this work is. So congratulations to all of us. We're doing well. But what we did was, when we looked at Baltimore, we said, we have St. Francis Academy, one of the oldest continuing operating African-American high school in the country, right here, 1 block away. They can be a partner. We have Barco and the Robert W. Deutsch Foundation, just fantastic leadership. They can be a partner. They're in this neighborhood. Rebuild Johnston Square Neighborhood Association, us. But as we look, we have the Sikh brothers. We have all sorts of folks that are here, that are committed, but we're not enough. We need something else. And we thought, do we have an organization that's strong enough to build a multifamily building here that has said, already built $1 billion worth of multifamily properties, has a portfolio about 10,000, but can also understand, despite that sort of power and that type of investment, that Johnston Square is different. We're unique. We need to build from this place throughout the neighborhood. And I could think of only one person, David Holden, that would come and do this. And David is a principal at the Ingerman Company, and they are long partners. This is our 7th deal in the Mid-Atlantic. Rebuild does stuff outside of Baltimore. I know most of you don't believe that, but we do. So, Michael's trying to stop that from happening. Yeah. But we thought that Ingerman is the perfect partner, and I'd like David to talk about the project.
Thank you, Sean. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here. My charge was to talk about the project and the financial components of it, which I'm sure can have you glaze your eyes over pretty quickly. But before I do that, Regina talked about the goodness that occurs, and I love that concept, the goodness, because I'm going to tell you about Citibank and Freddie Mac, and you don't associate Freddie Mac and Citibank with goodness. But that's the reality of this kind of endeavor, that we've brought together a variety of disparate partners beyond the Johnston Square and the locals that have been already identified to make this project a reality. I won't go into too many details, but just as it's been described, the project will front on Chase Street here. It'll be a 4-story, 60-unit building. It'll be a dramatic change for the streetscape of the neighborhood, and as far as the features and the amenities that are going to be available to the residents of the community, it's going to, I think, be a long-term asset that the community can enjoy. Just to go through a little bit of who's been involved in this project, obviously the City of Baltimore and Jim Majors, we couldn't have gotten anywhere near we were without their consistent support and perseverance. Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, the secretary's here this morning, but we work closely with Brian O'Toole. I think John Manival is here, and I heard Tom Fry was here, and Matt Heckles there. Thank you very much for your creativity and perseverance with us. As I mentioned before, Citibank was our construction lender, and they worked with Freddie Mac through the tax-exempt bond issue. Then we also had the Richmond Group, which syndicated the tax credits for us, and We also have the Jeanette Weinberg Foundation is a major partner as well. So that's kind of a quick rundown of the money that came together to achieve this goodness that Regina mentioned. As far as Ingerman, Natalie DiFilippo, who's my development associate at Ingerman, is here too. Natalie really carried the ball with this, and just thanks to Todd and Stephanie for putting this together. Thanks for being here. Please come back for our groundbreaking about a year from now. Actually, grand opening.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Calvin Keene. I'm pastor of Memorial Baptist Church in Carolina, Crescent Street, and have the privilege of serving as the chair of Rebuild Metro. I am excited about the partners that we have garnered along the way. And in the city of Baltimore, Mr. Braverman, and certainly at the state level, Secretary Kenneth Holt. It has been a relationship that brought expectations. We brought expectations to Secretary Holt, and we developed a relationship that has allowed us to invest significantly in Baltimore City. He has been willing to sit with us and talk with us and to share ideas and to figure out how we can cobble together some of the state programs in rebuilding East Baltimore. It has been significant that his group has worked with us and found that we were serious about what we were doing and that we'd had some successes, and now we are a partnership. I'm very excited for the work that he has done with us and what he will continue to do oh, that wasn't a demand, but it is the work that he has decided that he will continue to do with us. And so it's my privilege to present to you the Maryland Housing Department Secretary, Kenneth C. Holt.
Thank you, Pastor Keene. Those are very kind words. I will say that as I look across the audience here, I see a lot of role models, Bob Emery, Amy Klein, and I think, fortunately, I can say that many of my role models are in my department, like John Manival and Brian O'Toole and Matt Heckles. What role models do is to inspire us. And Regina, you're very inspirational, and I want to thank you for your leadership. The solution is some, in part, money, but mostly I think it's human willpower and the desire and the passion to sort of move through the problems and come up with solutions. And so we in our department have decided we're going to make commitments that are going to be profound and impactful. And I think a commitment that we will make here is to make sure that hundreds of units that are vacant will be renovated and will be available to rent and for home ownership, to convert from rental to home ownership. We will come up with the capital to do it, and I think we have the leadership team on the field to be able to execute with it. So with that, I just want to express my deepest appreciation to each and every one of you, to let you know that we are here for the long game. And I don't know whether it's going to be 3 or 5 years, but it won't be very long before this will be an absolutely marvelous home for people to come to. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Secretary Holt. Before I bring up our additional speakers, I have to give and I want to give a shout out to a couple of folks who do what they do always in the shadows but are so very important. I want to give a shout out first of all to our Baltimore City Police Department with Sergeant Bennett, who is here in the back, as well as Major Wells, who always show up at our meetings who give the support and always let the community know that they are here to protect and serve. I also want to give a shout out to James Boycourt from Charm City Mead Works. He has a lovely, charming little place right at the border of Johnson Square. He opens his doors to the community whenever we need. He's always there to help with, if it's no more than a simple repair of a lawnmower. He does whatever he can to help the community in this work. And also, we need to also recognize Mr. Lee. I don't think he was able to come, but he's right here in this block. But Mr. Lee from Penn Liquors, who just recently delivered a bunch of fans to the school who so desperately needed them, and always helps out with our snacks for our events. But also, I can't leave out a couple of other people. One, the community, who has allowed us to help them and serve them and given us the feedback at every monthly meeting so that we could do this work. And if you look over here to my right, you see this gentleman hiding in the corner with the blue t-shirt on. That's my husband, Keith. And he basically is the guy who really makes it all happen behind the scenes, before the show and after the show. He's making sure the little small details that nobody thinks about gets done. He makes it possible for me to be able to do this work by taking care of everything else. And I gotta recognize my team. You'll see them around in the crowd with the blue t-shirts. They're doing the extra work. They're coming to the community meetings, but then they're doing the other meetings, and they're showing up whenever I make the call so that we can do this work. So I want to just give them a shout out and say we appreciate you, we love you, and thank you so very much. I again must say, we did not get to this day alone. Commissioner Braverman from Baltimore City Department of Housing and Community Development has listened and worked with us every step of the way to this day. Without his leadership, we would not be here. I'd like to bring up Commissioner Braverman.
Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, that's me behind his beard, Councilman. I'm going to try to get another job as a cologne model. I'll let you know how that goes. Anyway, it's really great to be here with everybody this morning and to celebrate the extraordinary progress that we're making together. I mean, it's palpable. I mean, we are making a difference. And I look around this tent, and everyone who's trying not to get into the tent right over there, these are the people here who are making a difference. And I'm really confident, and I'm hopeful, and I'm grateful when I look around and see all the people here today, because I know people didn't just show up for this event, that everybody here has been relentlessly showing up for this work. And we have all been partnering, really in unprecedented ways, to move this work forward. And together, we really are making a difference. And it's really because of the dedication of our community leaders and residents, thank you, Regina, and because of the commitment and creativity of our partner institutions and organizations, and for that, it's a big shout out to everybody here, and the fact that we all have a sense of urgency about the need to do better and the need to do more that we can celebrate today. And there's so much more work to do here in Johnson Square and across the city to promote our common equitable development agenda, but we're confident that together we can leverage our strengths and assets and promote that agenda citywide. So let me thank all of you for today's success, for the contribution of public and private capital, and for the private lending that makes the production of new, quality, affordable housing possible. For that, I say thank you. Thank you to Secretary Holt and your team. Thank you to the Weinberg Foundation. Thank you to our lenders at Citibank and others. And I'm sure I'm leaving a host of others out, including our city commitments. Might have just turned that off, but I can speak pretty loudly. There we go. Capital is essential, but it's more than about money. It's about the community vision, the expertise that's here in this room, the advocacy, and the leadership that's represented here today, that I say thank you. So thank you to build And Terrell Williams is not here today, tried to get away on vacation, but he's omnipresent. Pastor Keene, to the entire Build organization for the great work that you do here in Johnson Square and across the city. To rebuild Johnson Square, and Regina, the great work that you do in bringing this together as a community vision. To our elected representatives, I see Councilman Stokes right here, ever present, and where would you be without Kathy hiding behind you? Thank you for all the great work, and our controller here, Madam Controller Joan Pratt, for all the great work that we do. But it's also the commitment and creativity of the State Department of Housing and Community Development under Secretary Holt's leadership, and to his entire team that's here today, that I say thank you, because it makes these extraordinary events happen. And I see our federal partners here today, represented by Charlie Holm. Thank you. It's extraordinary work, always a piece of our CDBG funds involved in every project. And thanks for the commitment of HUD. But I also want to thank the team at DHCD. So our city DHCD. So for everybody here, DHCD, past and present, but could you just raise your hands so we can say shout out to that creative team? Julie Day, put your hand up. Yeah, there we go. Past and present, includes you, Wendy. We have a great team at DHCD, and we're so excited to partner with everyone in the great work ahead of us. We are essentially standing up a new agency with new staff, new resources, and a clear strategic vision. Here in Johnson Square, our team's been working with our partners to assemble and clear land for the expansion of new Henrietta Lacks Park, to complete the acquisition and clearance of the land across Greenmount for additional recreational uses, to dispose the vacant buildings along Biddle, to rebuild Metro for renovation and reoccupancy, and we thank our commitment from the state to help make that happen, and all so much more. And we know, so much so, that I know we'll be getting back together here very soon. Very soon, I have an inkling, to celebrate additional successes and additional partnerships. So thank you to our DHCD and our partners. So with that, I want to say, also thank Mayor Young. I know he'll be here shortly, I hope. But if not, I want to close by saying, as Mayor Young often reminds us, we can't wait for the change that needs to come. We have to make that change happen now. And I'm proud to be part of this great group of committed change agents that will make positive change happen now. This is, what did Groucho Marx say? You don't want to be a member of any organization that would admit somebody like you. But this is, I'm really thankful that you've all admitted me, because this is an organization I really want to be a part of. Thank you all.
Michael, thank you very much. And a special shout out goes to Angie Ennis, who essentially, we feel like we're sitting on one lot. It's like 47 of them. So, and what we've done for years has taken this group, again, everyone in this tent, reinvestment fund, the rebuild staff, the rebuild Metro staff, everyone, the DHCD staff, I see Kevin, I see Garland, together. What we've done is we've taken over 700 abandoned properties in the city of Baltimore, and they are no longer abandoned. It was that record that had Regina say, why isn't that happening here? One of the ways we get that done is we have to go consistently to the BOE to get some support. And we have support at the BOE. And I'd like to ask Comptroller, please come up and share your thoughts with us. Thank you very much for all your long help.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, but more importantly, I'd like to thank you for your hard work, your dedication, and effort in investing in creating this new affordable rental community. I would also like to thank Ingerman Management and Rebuild Metro for taking the initiative to add to Baltimore's housing stock. As a stakeholder in our city, you have incorporated a standard of leadership, foresight, and careful planning while sharing Baltimore's commitment to sustainable neighborhoods and communities. As a proud supporter, I wish you continued success as you embark upon the next phase of this development, and I really look forward to its completion and grand opening. Thank you.
Again, before I introduce my next speaker, I see someone else in the crowd that I have to say or shout out to, and that's Will Holman from Open Works. Will Holman always makes room for Rebuild Johnson Square at Open Works whenever we need a meeting space, whenever we need a coffee, whatever we need. He gets an email from me and he always says, "Pleasure to have you, come on over." So I just want to say thank you, Will. This next speaker, he's going to tell you, I turned his hair gray. Don't believe it. But despite that, he still answers our calls and he still answers our emails. Our 12th District Councilman, our champion to Rebuild Johnson Square, Councilman Robert Stokes.
Good morning, everyone. Before I do my remarks, Mr. Hammond, could you take your hat off for a minute? Regina did that to that man. He had a bush and he had black hair. Terrell's not here. He'll be a good example of that too. I still have some hair and it's gray, and I blame that all on Regina. I really enjoy ribbon cutting in the district because it gives me a chance to highlight the great partnerships here in the city. Regina always says Johnson Square is on the move. This is clearly evident that we will see in the future the project is adding much needed housing, which is in response to a tremendous growth in the community. Johnson Square has come a long ways. Rebuild Metro and Rebuild Johnson Square are great examples of what partners do. They listen to each other, they plan based on the needs of the community, and they execute the plan together to ensure success. In addition to Rebuild Metro, I want to thank other partners investing in the future of Baltimore. MBID of Delaware, Ingram Management, Maryland DHCD, Secretary Hope, Henry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, our federal partners, the great city of Baltimore, represented by, of course, our Mayor, Jack Young. I also like to recognize former State Senator Nathan Irby, who, stand up Nathan, come on. Well, I want to recognize Nathan Irby because I always say he started off in politics as a postman. He went from a postman to a city council person, and he went from a city council to the state senator, and I think he's done a lot in this community, and I always honor those persons who really did some work in here. And the reason why I just want to recognize Irby because the over at Odessa Court between Eden and Caroline and Biddle and Edgar Street, I named that the Nathan Irby C. Park, and I think he well deserving of that. So, and I really want to thank Rebuild Metro for their leadership, and I'm glad I could be on board to make this success move even further. Thank you.
Thank you. We understand the mayor's 5 minutes out. I'm not just filling time because all of these people, again, as I said, in this room really need to be thanked. I think one of the things that we have state money in here, and Senator McCrae was dynamite making sure that got passed through the state legislative process. I know that Johnny Moore from Delegate Stephanie Smith's office here, I didn't see it. Sorry, Timmy. Sorry. Thank you very much for that support. And then I think we get back to it is a public-private partnership, and the private part of this is the stuff that a lot of people don't see. I think Bob Embry and the Able Foundation have been great and incredibly supportive of our work. Matt Gallagher from Gold Sectors here. I see Jane Brown from Robert W. Deutsch. That's all the glue. That's the stuff that allows the organizing and the work to happen before the site can actually be developed. But then we got to a point where we got it as far as we possibly could go, and we ran out of gas, and we turned to a foundation that is one of the largest in the country, and we said, could you please help us? We turned to the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, and Amy answered the call, and I'd like to ask her to come up because she's the one that brought us home. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's our privilege to participate in this project, and I just want to give you a little bit of information about why we invested in this really exciting housing development, and bring you greetings and congratulations from our president and trustees of the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation. My name is Amy Klein. I'm a senior program director. And when I was preparing my notes, I saw that it was exactly 1 year ago that I was reviewing the grant request for this project. So my job is to work with organizations like Rebuild Metro to understand the project details and financing, determining feasibility, is it really going to happen, and present a recommendation to my board that ultimately makes the decision of whether or not a grant is approved. So that process that we call due diligence also involves consulting with other stakeholders like state and local agencies, other funders and nonprofits. And several of the people I spoke to are here today who really champion this project, including Secretary Holt, Regina Hammond, and others. And in particular, it was very clear that this housing development came from the neighborhood and came from the community. And I was really heartened to know that local residents have been so involved in the project all along the way. So ultimately, our board decided to provide $1.5 million to this project for several reasons. First, we want to invest in infrastructure in Baltimore City that will improve the lives of residents and has the potential to spur further development, which is the case here. Second, we support the development of new housing units for people with disabilities, and it hasn't been mentioned, but this project has units that are set aside for people with disabilities. That's very important to us at the foundation. Third, Rebuild Metro has been working in this area for over a decade and has demonstrated a solid track record. And I wanted to emphasize here that other philanthropic partners help make that possible. You know, different foundations have different priorities and guidelines and abilities. We fund capital projects. That's something we're able to do, but we don't necessarily fund the other work that our partners at Goldsecker and Able and others fund. Fourth, this project has strong support from local and state government. And I mean strong support. Many of them do, but in this case it was just overwhelming support. There's so many people that were really committed to seeing this happen. So we're so pleased to be able to partner with those entities. So in my role leading our housing grants at the Weinberg Foundation, there's nothing more exciting than seeing the projects once they are completed. It really is the very best feeling. But the second most exciting is to be here at the beginning when shovels go in the ground and the work is finally underway after years of planning and fundraising, and it does take years. So I want to thank the team at Rebuild Metro for its diligence and persistence to make this project happen, to the state of Maryland, the city of Baltimore for ensuring that this project could succeed. It's yet another great example that none of us can do this work alone, and we must collaborate with our partners. And thank you for providing us with the opportunity to meet our mission through projects like this one. Congratulations.
Before I introduce our last speaker, I just definitely must recognize our council president, Brandon Scott. I'd like to give him an applause, but we'd also like to say to him that we appreciate your leadership. We see you on the news and you've hit the ground running. You're listening to the people, and we're looking forward to all your great works. Thank you for coming. Our next speaker literally must know everyone in the city of Baltimore, and jokes about leveraging a special lobby tax on Johnson Square for often being in the lobby of City Hall prior to meetings. It's my pleasure to invite to the microphone our mayor, Bernard Jack Young. He has stood as a councilman with us, a council president, and now as our mayor. Mr. Mayor, we know we can count on you to make sure together we will rebuild Johnson Square and Baltimore.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First, I want to acknowledge Secretary Ken Holt, who has been a great friend and supporter of us in the city of Baltimore, Councilman Robert Stokes, Comptroller Joan Pratt, and also Council President Brandon Scott. I'd like to also recognize Michael Braverman, our Commissioner of DHCD, Regina Hammond, President of Rebuild Johnson Square, and representatives from the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation and the community members that are here today. I would be remiss if I did not recognize Reverend Cotton, who has been in this community for a long time, and also former Senator Nathan Irby. I want to thank everyone for accommodating my schedule and allowing me to arrive after the program have already begun. Me and the council president was at a trauma forum that was organized by Congressman Cummings. The good news is I appreciate being able to come at the end of all the remarks so I can bring the message home and sum things up for everyone. Today is a remarkable day for Baltimore City, but I won't do that. My council president will be following me. Okay. So he'll sum it up. We're standing here sharing the good news about this amazing development, Greenmount Apartments, a $16 million investment on the block of formerly blighted land and vacant homes. We're also here to acknowledge all of these amazing partners, the State of Maryland and Project CORE, Rebuild Metro, Build, Embed, Rebuild Johnson Square Neighborhood Association, the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, Citibank, the Richmond Group. This groundbreaking today is more evidence that we are building from our strengths through the kickoff of this development today and the plans for many other parcels in the Johnson Square community. We are literally witnessing how the successes we've had in Barclay and Greenmount West are leading to other transformative investment. I want to thank all of the partners for coming together to capitalize on the opportunities that Baltimore offers. We don't hear enough about the opportunities that are available, about how many of our neighborhoods are poised for transformative investment and near-term success. I'm also very pleased that through this development, we're working to improve affordable housing options. Our plans, our vision for this city includes everyone. And I have to say that the city government has been embracing plans like this. And under my leadership, we will continue to embrace transformative plans like this. Congratulations and thank you for this opportunity. Now I'm going to present to you our Council President, Councilman Brandon Scott.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will bring it home, and I'll be real brief. The mayor said everything else I would like to say, but I just want to remind everybody. I said, Ms. Regina, when we were at the Henrietta Lacks Parks renaming, there was less media there, that anybody who doubts East Baltimore, they don't understand what's going on in Johnson Square. Yeah. They don't understand what's going on, not just because of all the great partners that we have here today from city government, state government, our foundation community, but most importantly, from the people of Johnson Square who have demanded better for themselves. East Baltimore is going through a transformation, and those who doubt East Baltimore and doubt Baltimore in general about how we can come up from the ashes of 2015, then they have to pay attention today. You better get on the train now because we're going to leave you at the next station. We will be a better city, and together we will do it. And it's projects like this, community-driven, community-based, partnerships all across all boards that will make that happen. So thank you for allowing me to be here today. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Mr. Mayor. We have to get in the dig in the dirt. It's very hot. Make sure everyone is drinking water. Thank you.